Have you ever heard of a war that claimed more lives than World War I? It wasn't fought with tanks or machine guns, but with swords, spears, and desperation. This was the Taiping Rebellion, a conflict that tore 19th century China apart and led to one of the darkest chapters in human history. We often hear about the grand battles and political ambitions, but today, we're delving into the grim reality faced by ordinary people trapped in the crossfire, story of brutal sieges and the ultimate taboo, cannibalism. The Taiping Rebellion wasn't just a clash of armies. It was a total war that engulfed entire cities. When the Taiping or imperial forces laid siege to a city, they didn't just surround it, they strangled it. Supply lines were cut, and millions were trapped inside walls that became their prisons. Cities like Nanjing, the Taiping heavenly capital, and Anqing endured sieges that lasted for years, as the days turned into months, and months into years. The food simply ran out. People started with their pets, then moved to rats, leather, and even the earth itself. But when there was nothing left, the unimaginable began. This is where the historical records become truly harrowing. Both Taiping and Qing sources describe scenes of pure desperation. In besieged cities, a horrifying market emerged where human flesh was sold. It was given euphemistic names like thinking of you meat or two-leg mutton. This wasn't savagery for its own sake. It was a desperate, agonizing choice made by people starving to death, trying to keep their families alive for one more day. Survivors' accounts tell of people too weak to bury their dead, and of neighbors disappearing overnight. It is a deeply disturbing part of the conflict that shows just how completely societal norms can collapse when survival is at stake. The siege of Anqing is a particularly brutal example. For over a year, the imperial army, led by Zheng Guofan, encircled the city. The defenders, loyal to the Taiping cause, held out with incredible tenacity, but inside, starvation was rampant. When the city finally fell, the scenes that greeted the imperial soldiers were apocalyptic. The streets were littered with the dead and the barely living. Reports from the time are filled with gruesome details of cannibalism being commonplace. The psychological toll on everyone involved, the besieged, the besiegers, and the survivors, was immense. This wasn't an isolated incident. Similar horrors were repeated in cities across southern China. Understanding this dark chapter is not about sensationalism, it's about acknowledging the true cost of war. The Taiping Rebellion resulted in an estimated 20 to 30 million deaths, with many succumbing to famine and disease brought on by these brutal sieges. It forces us to look beyond the battlefield and see the profound human suffering that war leaves in its wake. These were ordinary people pushed to extraordinary and terrible limits. Their story is a sobering reminder that in the desperation of conflict, the lines between victim and perpetrator, and even between what is human and what is not, can become terrifyingly blurred. It's a vital, though painful, part of history that we must remember. Thank you for joining me on this journey into a difficult but important topic. If you found this exploration of history valuable, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the past. See you next time.